think today what we're going to kind of look at getting into, Chris, is the top 5 running backs in college football. All right.
All right, let's do it.
And this is, I might have a surprising guy in here at, leading off this list. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Dude, I'm grabbing my sack. I'm parked in my fucking chair here, bro. Let's fucking do this, dude. I'm sure you're coming up with some crazy shit like you did on your QB list last week. If you guys haven't seen that shit, go ahead and tune into last week's podcast and see what this asshat had to say about it. So come on, Christian, bring it to me real, man. I know you're going to come up with some crazy theories. You're a stat whore. Lay it out there, bro.
Listen, I do like my stats. I do appreciate a good stat petition here. Okay. At number 5 on the list, I've got Will Shipley of Clemson. I like Clemson. Now, he was a highly, highly recruited kid, right, when he signed with Clemson. Last year, he had 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns. Okay. I think what the kid's doing, they're kind of getting away from they're having a quarterback departure that's kind of going out of there. Old DJ's leaving. They're getting another guy that, hopefully they can spin the ball with. But I think they're going to really, really lean on this kid, Will Shipley, out there, right? Like I said, in his career, he's had 2,000 yards and 26 touchdowns, right? The kid's kind of balled out, out there at Clemson. At number 4, okay, this is where we are going to get a little interesting here. Braylon Allen of Wisconsin. Okay, I'm kind of getting back to your conference here. A little Big Ten action, Chris. Last year, he put up 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he also had, over his career, he's had 2,500 yards and 23 touchdowns. So, the last 2 years, you think about what this kid's done. He's actually had a pretty solid season back there. They're going to need him to kind of pick up the load a little bit more and kind of do some more stuff out there at Wisconsin. All right.
Let's go.
I know. Listen, we're getting right into the top 3 here. Look, I think, and I could be wrong here, Chris.
You would be first, though, wouldn't it?
Of course it would. You seem to think I have a lot of SEC bias. Is that right?
Oh, dude, you've been dick riding Georgia for a long time, and I've known you for a while now, and you are very, very biased towards the SEC. Let's just throw that out there. I get it. I respect it. I understand.
Well, in case you say that, let's get right into it here then. At number 3, I've got Raheem Sanders of Arkansas. My guy last year had 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns. Okay, and that was in the loaded SEC, as we like to say, right?
Right.
Listen, I got a feeling he's going to have a chance to have a huge year this year. Him and KJ Jefferson, the running quarterback there. I really like what this guy is going to do. You know who he kind of reminds me a little bit of?
Oh, let's see. What do you got? What do you got for me? Kid's fast as fuck. SEC, what, DeAndre Swift?
It'd be an easy comparison. It'd be an easy comparison there. Another former. No, it's another former Arkansas running back.
McFadden?
Oh yeah,
Darren
McFadden.
McFadden.
A little lighter, little faster McFadden.
God damn, I was surprised that your knowledge goes back that far. Darren McFadden's been out of the league for a while, but boy, that guy damn near won a Heisman though. He was a fucking stud, man.
Imagine what you're going to do when you find out I know about Ryan Mallett over there with the Razorbacks. So you'll get.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about that clown. I remember that guy. Funny you bring him up.
Oh, well, good. Hey, we all like to party. Anyways, getting on with it. He's had 2,400 yards in his career and 26 touchdowns. Anytime you could do that in the SEC, that's pretty damn impressive. Yeah, number 2 on this list, again, for me, I'm going to keep it parked in the SEC here. I've got one Mr. Quinshon Judkins, right? And here's the reality of the situation. He was a true freshman last year. He had to, he was having to split some of the time with a very talented 5-star running back in Zach Evans, who originally committed to Georgia, ended up at TCU. Right? Found it. Yeah. He was originally committed to Georgia, signed with them. Somehow, like right after all that, he ended up getting released from it. I don't know exactly what happened. Ended up at TCU. I think after junior college.
Not to interject here, but wasn't he like super highly recruited at high school. Wasn't he like one of the top, or if not the top back?
I think he was like one of the top running backs. Yeah. He was a 5-star. I know that.
Right. Okay. No, go on. Sorry. I just that name, man. I think he declared for the draft this year, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, he definitely did. So, but let me tell you what this kid did last year at a Pike Road, Alabama. All he did as a true freshman in the SEC was go for 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's
putting some work in for sure. SEC,
I will
give it to you.
He's going to be. I think he might be one of the best backs this year. Again, but I feel like it's always weird though, because as soon as you get like really hyped up on some of these guys, it always kind of
running back is that's a tough one. You know, you can't get injured. You know what I mean? Like we saw that last year with Mo Ibrahim from Minnesota. You know, he put up crazy stats, played on not such a good team. That's another thing too, to get hyped up there in the running back situation. Your team's got to be pretty successful. Otherwise, nobody really cares, right? I don't mean that in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like you always got to be like an upper echelon team to get your name out there. It seems like you see these guys put up just crazy numbers for schools that maybe are 500, a little bit above. You know what I mean? Like I think, you know, Mo Ibrahim is, you know, declaring for the draft this year. I believe he's a senior anyway. So like he's a really good back, but the guy was a workhorse, right? But a lot of people really didn't hear about him so much because I guarantee the guy that he was compared to is the guy that you got sitting number 1 this year because he was supposed to go to the NFL. And I'm going to be surprised. What do you got, Christian, at number 1?
Well, I'll definitely say that, you know, but real quick before I jump into that, I will say one last thing about Quinshon Judkins here, and that is, to me, let me just kind of park it here for just a second here. I want to ask you this. Is this not a little surprising for you, considering this is a Lane Kiffin offense? When I think of Lane Kiffin offense, I think we're going to spread it out. We're going to throw the ball a quadrillion times a game. To me, it just seems weird as fuck that they have a running back that kind of, as a true freshman, put up those kind of numbers.
You know, any other day, Christian, I would love to disagree with you, but I have this guy on my list. So, yeah, answer your question. Yeah, does it surprise me with Lane Kiffin a little bit that he's in that offense and puts up those kind of numbers? But then, no, not really, because they throw the ball a ton. This is the SEC. You got to be able to run the ball down there. You have to at some point. And I think this kid's really, really fucking good. So I think he puts up similar numbers this year. I really, truly do. I really do.
I like it. By the way, if everyone's looking and they're going to look at this, I also included the receiving yards as well as receiving touchdowns too. So there you go.
Absolutely.
If you're going to do stats, you got to do it all the way. Number 1, your favorite guy. You like to dick ride this guy so much that I'm going to have to name a bench in my house after you and him. Blake Corum over at Michigan. Like I said, man, he's been, I think, for a few years now, he's been one of the best running backs in college football. Last year, and he was hurt for a little bit of the season, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Fuck, the end of the season, boy. You forget who his backup is, who's probably a top 10 back in the country, honestly, too. He's pretty good, Mr. Donovan. I think it's Donovan Edwards. That's his name. He's a fucking stud, too. But no, I'll talk about him more on my side here. So
100%. I don't want to take anything away from you, but I do want to finish this up here. It's 1,500 yards last year, 19 touchdowns. Over his career, he's had 2,800 yards and 33 touchdowns. I mean, the guy's been a stud over at Michigan and continued to kind of help propel them to success. I mean, do I think that they're right now, I mean, arguably they're better than Georgia in the running back room. Not even a question in my mind about that. But you look at the run of running backs Georgia's had, Michigan might get on a little bit of a run here, I think. And that's going to be kind of worth noting. And that's hard for me to say, especially because our poll, you know, we disagree on Michigan, Ohio State. And our community poll that we put up over on the channel right now, people are leaning with me, and they're saying Ohio State is going to win the Big Ten this year.
Well, I'm sure they are. And there's probably 3 times the freaking Ohio State fans out there than Michigan. But we'll see how that plays out in the field. That'll happen here, you know, in a couple, it's going to be more in a couple months, but no, I agree, Christian. I will say, to wrap up your top 5, man, going into mine here right now, I got to give you some props, man. I thought I was going to get you with some of these guys today. I mean, you definitely don't know how to play running back. It's questionable whether or not you even played high school football, but here we are.